Good morning, everyone. Myself K. Kiran Kumar, working as lecturer in Electronics and Communication Engineering section. Presently working at Jawaharlal Nehru Government Polytechnic, Hyderabad. Today I am going to discuss one or two topics in digital communication system, which is currently in 4th semester of C18 curriculum. Right now we'll start the class. So objectives of the topic is, upon completion of this period, you will able to understand coding of pulse code modulation techniques, that is called as encoder. Then we will see decoding of pulse code modulated signals, that is called as decoder. It is similar to modulation and demodulation in analog communication system. Just in the previous class, we discussed the basic principle of pulse code modulation. So we have seen the major process in the PCM, that is sampling, quantization and coding. Then we have seen quantization noise and quantization errors, dynamic range, bit rate, baud rate. So we have seen these topics in the previous class. So before going to start the PCM coder as well as decoder, so in the PCM, so it is a digital modulation technique where the analog signal will be converted into discrete time domain signal. That is, we will take the samples, that samples will be equal to, or that samples will be based on input signal frequency according to the sampling theorem. So after that, amplitude of the each sample will be rounded off to the nearest possible set of voltage levels. That process is called as quantization, and each voltage level will be assigned a code based on the number of bits for each sample representation. So that is the process involved in the pulse code modulation. So with this thing, now we will start the coding of pulse code modulated signals. So therefore we can say it is the process of converting an analog signal or continuous signal into pulse code modulated signal, means we are converting into pulses, is called as coding. And similarly, the process of converting pulses, or we can say digital signal, so example binary signal, all the names are same. So therefore the process of converting digital signal into analog signal is called as decoding. Reverse process to the coding is called as decoding. And here this coding and decoding will be done by using a single circuit called as codec. CODEC. That means, so it is a circuit which will do coding and decoding process. Right. So therefore this term codec, combination of a coder and decoder process. Now just first to look at the coder circuit for the PCM signals. If you look at the diagram, here analog message signal will be given to a low pass filter. So from the low pass filter it will be given to a sampler. So from the sampler it will be given to the quantizer. So after quantizer it will be given to encoder input. Finally it will be given to parallel to serial converter. So finally we'll get digital output or PCM output as shown in the figure. So this is the simple process of PCM coding. So already we told in the PCM what are the major steps. The same process will be drawn in the diagram oriented wise. That is sampler, quantizer, encoder. So we will explain each block one by one. First, low pass filter. So low pass filter is a circuit made with resistance and capacitances or resistance and inductors. So based on the time constant, that is product of resistance and capacitance value, it will be acts like a low pass filter or high pass filter, or so many filters are there which will remove the unwanted frequencies. Therefore, coming to the low pass filter, so here we will use a higher order low pass filter to prevent the distortion due to aliasing or fold over distortion. As you know, aliasing or fold over distortion will occur whenever sample rate or sampling frequency is less than 2 times of message signal frequency, that is less than Nyquist rate, we are getting aliasing effect or fold over distortion. So to remove this problem, we are using the low pass filter used at the PCM first level. So this filter is used to capable of blocking all the frequency components above 1/2 of the sampling frequency. Here the cutoff frequency we will choose that will be equal to 1/2 of the sampling frequencies. Therefore, above that frequency all the frequencies will be attenuated and lower frequencies will be passed through the low pass filter. Next step will be sampler. So this sampler will do the sampling process, that is from the continuous signal we will take the number of samples that will be equal to 2 times of the message signal frequency. So that process will be done by the sampler. Therefore, so it will do the sample of the, or it will take the sample of the incoming message signal using a sample and hold circuit. The purpose of this sample and hold circuit is to store the instantaneous value of the sampled signal for a small duration to produce a flat tapped sample output. So actually sample means it is a finite duration of having some infinite amplitude that will be equal to message signal, right. In order to get a perfect reconstruction of the message signal at the receiver, the sampling rate must be greater than the twice the maximum frequency of the message signal frequency, that is according to the sampling theorem. Next will be quantizer. After taking the samples by the sample and hold circuit, then the output will be given to input of the quantizer. Here the quantizer already we told it is a process of assigning voltage levels to the amplitude of the samples. Therefore, original analog signal can have only finite number of signals levels. Therefore, after if use quantization, it will assign samples to any one of the sample which is closest to the assigned voltage level or quantization level. And the number of quantization levels depends upon the number of bits used to express each sample value. As I told, the number of quantization levels will be given by capital N equal to 2 power of m, where n is the number of quantization levels and m will be number of bits per sample. And this quantization process will produce errors called as quantization noise or quantization error. That is the difference between the original message signal and quantized signal. The difference is called as quantization error. So this quantization error will be less whenever number of quantization levels are more, or number of bits per sample should be more. Then we will get less quantization noise. So this particular diagrams will show you the quantization errors. So based on the quantization levels. Here, so from this quantization we can say the largest possible quantization error is 1/2 of the difference between the two voltage levels. This level of quantization will be decreased by increasing the number of voltage levels or quantization levels. But because of this one, the number of bits per sample also increases. That is a drawback. Therefore, next one will be the dynamic range of PCM system is the ratio of strongest possible signal that can be transmitted to the weakest amplitude signal. So that is the quantizer. So after quantization process, then output will be given to the input of the encoder. So it is a process in which the voltage levels are converted into digital equivalent. So means for each voltage level or for each voltage level of the samples, we will assign a digital code or binary code, and this process will be done by analog to digital converter, where it will convert a continuous signal into digital form. So now we will say small example. Suppose if you are taking 256 quantization levels, so therefore the number of bits to represent each sample becomes 2 power of 8. Therefore 8 bits per sample we have to take. So as we told, n equal to 2 power of m. Whenever n equal to 256, m becomes 8. Therefore this particular figure will tell. So the A to D converter, from the analog sample voltage, it will convert into corresponding 8 bits, that is from D0 to D7. D0 will be the least significant bit and D7 will be the most significant bit. Therefore 256 quantization levels are coded by 8 bits. So that is about the encoding, the last step in the PCM. And finally the output from the encoder will be given to parallel to serial converter. As you know, from a serial as you know, the output from the analog to digital converter is in the parallel form. If it is directly transmitted these bits, we require 8 wires from transmitter to the receiver if number of bits per sample is 8 bits at a time. Suppose if number of bits are increases, based on that one, the number of wires also increases, therefore complexity increases. So to save the transmission media or to save the physical media to transfer the bits from transmitter to receiver, the bits from parallel form will be converted into serial form, so which will require only one physical channel or only one wire. So means by using one wire, we are transmitting all the bits one by one. This process is called as serial conversion. Therefore the output bits from analog to digital converter will be converted into serial form by using a shift register. So a shift register which will convert parallel in serial out mode, PISO, that is parallel in serial out register, which will convert parallel input bits into serial output, and it will act like a parallel to serial converter. So therefore finally the output from the PCM coder will be available at the parallel to serial converter output. Then from this one it will transmitted through a channel. From the channel it will go to the receiver, where we will do the decoding of pulse code modulation technique. So this will be transmitted side. Now we will see the at the receiver, that process called as decoding. We will see the details now. Right, now we will see decoding of PCM signal. So where we will do the reverse process to the coding. Here now we will look at the block diagram first. First PCM input signal, so which is in serial form, will be given to serial to parallel converter. Then it will be given to decoder or DTA converter, digital to analog converter. So from that one it will be given to reconstruction filter. So finally we are getting the original reconstructed message signal or input signal which is in analog form. This process is called as decoding. Right, now we will see one by one each step. First step will be serial to parallel converter. So as you know, from the coder the output will be in serial form, the receive bits are in the serial form. Therefore it will be converted into parallel form using a serial to parallel register or serial to parallel converter, and it will be applied to the input of the digital to analog converter. And here a shift register of parallel input, serial input, parallel output, SIPO register will be used. That is serial in, parallel out register will be used. That is called as serial to parallel converter. Next will be the output from the serial to parallel converter will be given to input of digital to analog converter. The parallel bits are applied to a digital to analog converter to get the analog equivalent of the input digital data. So means based on the input digital data we are getting the equivalent analog output. Next will be reconstruction filter. The final step in the decoding of PCM signal is we have to recover the original message signal by passing the output of the digital to analog converter output through a low pass filter. And here the low pass filter cutoff frequency will be equal to message signal maximum frequency, that is message signal bandwidth. And the output of the reconstruction filter will be a original message signal which is reconstructed, which is a continuous signal or a analog signal. So that is about the decoding of pulse code modulated signal. So this is about the PCM coding and decoding. And now we will coming to the advantages of pulse code modulation. The first major advantage is ruggedness to noise and interference. Next one will be efficient regeneration of coded signals along the transmission medium. Therefore the possibility will be uniform possibility will be there for different types of message signal. And next advantage will be multiplexing will be very easy and very simple. and encryption also very simple or easy encryption process. So these are the advantages of pulse code modulation technique. Now just we will see disadvantages of PCM. The first major drawback is bandwidth will be large or bandwidth required is more. And second disadvantage, synchronization will be required between transmitter and receivers. So these are the disadvantages of PCM. Just now we will summarize whatever we told. In this period we discussed about PCM coding and decoding process. Whereas in the PCM coding, the first major step will be sampling, then we will do quantizing, so finally we will do encoding process. So after this we are discussed decoding process, where it is reverse process of the coding of PCM. It will be done at the receiver side. Then we have seen merits and demerits of pulse code modulation technique. Now based on this one, just to try to answer these questions. First question, which of the following is not a part of PCM generation? A will be encoder, B will be quantizer, C will be decoder, D will be sample and hold circuit. So answer will be very simple, that is decoder is not done at the PCM generation. So PCM generation, PCM modulation, PCM coding, all the names are same. Now second question, advantage of digital communication is? Option A, noise immunity, easy of multiplexing, easy of encryption, all of the above. So answer will be no need, all of the above. All are the advantages of digital communication. So these are the questions. Now there are some of the important questions from this topic is, look at the questions once. Explain the process of coding and decoding of pulse code modulation. Second question, what is the difference between coding and decoding? And this is about the pulse code modulation, coding and decoding. Now we'll discuss, we'll continue another topic, that is another digital modulation technique called as delta modulation. Up to now we discussed three types of pulse analog modulation techniques, that is pulse amplitude modulation, pulse position modulation, pulse width modulation. Then we have seen one of the digital modulation technique, that is called as pulse code modulation. Now we will see another pulse digital modulation technique, that is called as delta modulation. Now just if you look at the objectives of this topic, upon completion of this period you will able to understand what is delta modulation. In this one we will see generation of delta modulation, and then we will see receiver process, and what is mean by slope overload, and granular noise. So in the previous session we discussed about coding and decoding of PCM. Now with this one we are going for generation of delta modulation. In the PCM system, every sampled voltage is quantized and assigned a binary code or binary number, that is in terms of 2, 4, 8, 12, like this. So we are assigning that many number of bits per each sample. That is, for example, if number of quantization levels are 64, therefore 6 bits per sample we are assigning. So because of this process, high number of bits has to be transmitted, which will require more bandwidth. Therefore high bandwidth channel will be required, which will support high data rate. So means if number of quantization levels are increases, number of bits per sample also increases. With this, bandwidth required to transmit the PCM signal will increases. So this is the drawback in the pulse code modulation. Therefore, to overcome this problem, in delta modulation only one bit will be transmitted, that is either low level or high level, that is either 0 or 1, depending upon the sampled voltage level. Depending upon the sample voltage, which will be compared with the previous sampled signal. Means if first we will take this voltage level, this voltage level will be compared with the previous sample voltage level. So based on that one, we will either transmit 0 or 1. So that is the major principle involved in the delta modulation. Means instead of transmitting more number of bits per sample, we are transmitting only one bit. That value may be either 0 or 1, by comparing the present sample voltage level with the previous sample level. So that is a major important thing in delta modulation. Now we look at the generation of delta modulation diagram. If you look at the diagram, the first analog input will be given to sample and hold circuit, then it will be given to a comparator circuit. So here that circuit, here we will use op amp, that is operational amplifier, so which will be used as a comparator, and another input for the comparator will be coming from digital to analog converter. And here first a clock signal or a pulses will be given to up and down counter, and this output will be given to digital to analog converter. Therefore these two outputs will be compared by the comparator circuit. Finally we are producing a binary signal or digital signal, which is having only two voltage levels, that is 1 or 0. Now just we will explain this process. The first, the input analog signal will be sampled and converted into pulse amplitude signal. Means where amplitudes will be varied according to the input message signal amplitude. And here this PAM signal will be compared with the output of the digital to analog converter. And the output of the digital to analog converter is a voltage equal to the regenerated magnitude of the previous sample signal. So as you look at the diagram, there is a up and down counter, so which will store a binary number, and this up and down counter either it will be incremented or decremented based on the clock input. Therefore this up and down counter will be incremented or decremented depending upon whether the previous sample is larger or smaller than the current sample. And this up and down counter will be is clocked is at a rate equal to the sample rate, means the up and down counter speed will be equal to the sampling rate. Therefore this up and down counter will be updated after each comparison. Just we look at with example with waveform. So here a analog input is there. From that one, how we are seeing the, how we are drawing the DAC output. Now see that one. First at the initial period, so initial means, so at this point we will start at this point. At this point this analog input will be compared with the this output. Whenever DAC output is more, the output will be incremented by 1, otherwise it will be decremented. So if you see the diagram, initially so just we will see some points how the comparison will occur. So see this point here, if you look at this one, here DAC output will be more than the analog input signal or analog signal amplitude. Therefore DAC output will be incremented by 1 step. So therefore the corresponding input value I have taken 0. Then like that, at each point or at each sample, that voltage will be compared with the analog input. If DAC output is more compared with the analog input, then it will be represented with 0, otherwise it will be represented with 1. So here we will take one more point for your simplification. So see at this level, okay, at this point if you look at that one, DAC output will be less compared to the analog input. Therefore in the next step here it will be incremented by 1, that will be represented with 1. So this is the simple process of comparing the DAC output with the analog input. So based on that one, it will generate 1 or 0. So means if DAC output is more, it will generate 1, otherwise it will generate 0. Right. Therefore from the figure, up and down counter will be reset and the DAC outputting is 0. The first sample is taken, converted into a PAM signal or converted into samples, and first it will be compared with the 0 volts. At initial point, since counter will be reset, its output will be 0 volts, therefore DAC output will be 0 volt, and this voltage will be compared with the first sample of the message signal. So generally the output of the comparator becomes logical one, indicating that current sample voltage is larger than the amplitude of the previous sample. On the next clock pulse, the up and down counter will be incremented, therefore count becomes 1. Next, the DAC output equal to a voltage whose magnitude will be the minimum step size, and this step changes or this incremented or decremented value will be equal to the sampling rate or clock frequency. So therefore with the input signal shown, the up and down counter output will follow the input analog signal until output of the DAC exceeds the analog sample. Then up and down counter will begin counting down until output of the DAC drops below the sample magnitude. So means in the delta modulation, the DAC output will follows until analog sample voltage will be analog output exceeds the analog sample. So whenever up and down counter will be incremented, a logical 1 will be transmitted. Whenever up and down counter is decremented, a logical 0 will be transmitted. Means in this delta modulation, we are generating either binary 1 or binary 0 by comparing the analog signal voltage with the digital to analog converter output. Means by comparing the present sample with the previous sample, only one bit will be transmitted. Now we look at the block diagram of delta modulation receiver or degeneration, we can say. It is also very simple. The first delta modulated input will be given to digital to analog converter. Then it will be given to low pass filter, where we will get original analog signal or message signal. Another input to the DAC converter will be a up and down counter. Now just we will do the reverse process of this one. As you know, the logical 1s and 0s are received. The up and down counter will be incremented or decremented accordingly. The output of the digital to analog converter in the decoder is identical to the output of the DAC in the transmitter. Means the function of the DAC will be same in transmitter and receiver. So this is about the delta modulation receiver. Right. So with delta modulation, each sample requires transmission of only one bit. So that is the advantage of delta modulation. Therefore, bit rates are lower than the conventional PCM system. But so this is the major advantage. Coming to the drawback in the delta modulation, so which is not in the conventional PCM. So one is called as slope overload error. We will see that one. If you look at the diagram once, here I am taking one analog signal, and then so based on that one I am drawing the DAC output, that is digital to analog converter output. So at the initial point, so just do the same process. This is the point, initial point. At this point, analog input will be more compared to the up and down DAC output value. Therefore, DAC will be incremented by one step. Look at that one. And this incremented process will be done until it will exceeds the analog input voltage. So as this point reaches. So after that one, at this point also it will be incremented by one step. So after that, now DAC output is more value compared to the analog input value. If you look at the analog input magnitude, so after this point suddenly voltage is decreases, but so the DAC output will take some levels or some steps to follow. So to follow the analog input signal. So once again, initially the DAC output will be less, therefore it will be incremented by each step, and this incremented will be done until it will follows the analog input amplitude. So after this point, whenever analog input suddenly decreases, to reach up to that point it will take some time, as shown in the diagram. So because of this one, there is a difference between the analog input signal amplitude as well as the envelope of the DAC output, and this difference is called as slope overload error. So this is because of the rapid rise in the analog signal creates mismatch with the DAC output. Rapid rise means where the slope of the analog signal is more high, then this slope overload will occur. So that means when the analog input signal is changes at a faster rate than DAC, that is digital analog to converter, then slope overload error will occur. So therefore increasing the clock frequency reduces the probability of slope overload error, because by increasing the clock signal frequency, the step size of the DAC output also increases. Therefore slope overload error chances will be less. So there is another method to prevent the slope overload error is increase the magnitude of the step size. Means by increasing the step size also we can minimize the slope overload error. So this is one problem in the delta modulation, that is whenever analog signal rapidly increases or when a slope changes suddenly, then we are getting slope overload error. Next, another problem is granular noise. We look at that one. Now look at this signal. So original signal where the variation or slope will be almost same. The original signal is almost constant, variation is very less. So based on this one, if we compare the delta modulation output, that will be in the step size as showing in the diagram. So after taking the steps, so that is, so this is called as delta modulation output. So based on that one, if you draw the reconstructed signal, so that will be, if you, that is represented in the brinjal color. Now look at the difference. So the difference associated with this type of modulation is called as granular noise. So that is, from this figure we can say that when original analog input signal is as relatively constant output or variation of the analog signal is less, then we are getting that problem. Then the reconstructed signal has variation that were not present in the original signal. Now see once again, the reconstructed signal and original signal, if you compare with this one, both are slightly different. So this difference is called as granular noise, and this will be similar to quantization noise in PCM, and this granular noise will be decreases by decreasing the step size. Therefore granular noise is more prevalent in analog signal where amplitudes are very small amount, and slope over is more prevalent in analog signal where amplitudes will increase rapidly. If amplitudes are increases rapidly, we are getting slope overload error. If amplitude variation is almost constant, we are getting granular noise. So this is about the delta modulation. Just we will summarize what we told. In this session, we discussed about delta modulation where only one bit will be transmitted instead of transmitting more number of bits. Therefore, transmission bandwidth will be decreases. And the algorithm or the process of delta modulation is very simple. Then Here the process is, here the current sample is compared with the previous sample. If current sample is smaller than the previous sample, a 0 will be transmitted. If current sample is more than the previous sample amplitude, then 1 will be transmitted. So this is about the delta modulation. Just so based on this one, so try to answer these questions. Delta modulation uses, just look at the options: single bit, double bit, 0 bit. So answer will be A, single bit PCM. Now just the second question. In PCM, each code is a, look at the options: analog representation, binary representation, binary to analog representation. So each code in a BCM will be, so binary representation or digital. So answer will be B. And third question, the DAC output follows reference signal, input signal, digital signal. So in the delta modulation, the DAC output will follows the input message signal or input signal. Therefore option will be B. Next. So this is not relevant. I will skip this one. The step change value in delta modulation at a rate equal to A, virtual frequency, B, clock frequency, C, analog frequency. Answer will be clock. So next question, based on the delta modulation, the up and down counter follows input analog signal, output digital signal, output analog signal. So answer will be input analog signal. So these are the some of the questions. Now, so based on this one, the some of the important questions from this topic is: first question, describe delta modulation, and second, what are the limitations of delta modulation, what is meant by adaptive delta modulation. So we now discuss this one. So just try to see these two questions only. So describe delta modulation, what are the limitations of delta modulation. So with this one we will start the class. In the next session we discussed another digital modulation technique called as adaptive delta modulation, where slope overload error is not present. Okay, thank you very much. With this one we will start the class. We will meet in the next session. Thank you very much.